Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where we dive deep into the wild world of finance, economics, and how governments can actually make our lives better without screwing things up. Today, I've got a fresh take on fixing youth unemployment that's not your typical government handout scheme. We're talking about a smarter, more sustainable approach that focuses on revamping education and tweaking taxes and welfare to get young people excited about working instead of pumping billions into job creation bureaus that just crowd out private opportunities. Stick around because this could change how we think about fiscal policy and long-term economic growth. Let's start with the problem. Right now, across the UK, and honestly in a lot of places like the US too, we've got a massive issue with young people not in education, employment, or training. NEETS, they call them. The latest stats show 1 in 8 16 to 24-year-olds in the UK are in this boat, up almost a third in the past 4 years. Governments love to swoop in with big announcements, like the recent youth guarantee from the Labour Party, promising jobs, apprenticeships, or college spots for 18 to 21-year-olds. Sounds great on paper, right? But dig a little deeper, and it's reaching maybe 1 in 20 of those who need it. Only about 43,000 out of nearly a million NEETs qualify, and that's after 18 months of being out of work. Plus, if you refuse, bam, sanctions on your benefits. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken leg. The real kicker is the crowding out effect. When governments set up these funds or bureaus to create jobs, they're basically competing with the private sector. They subsidize roles that might have been filled anyway, or worse, pull resources away from businesses that could innovate and hire sustainably. Remember the Future Jobs Fund from 2009? Scrapped because it was too expensive. Or the Kickstart scheme during the pandemic, undersubscribed as the economy bounced back on its own. These programs cost billions, think £1 billion a year just for subsidies, and often end up in low quality gigs that don't lead to real careers. It's fiscal policy gone wrong, where public spending displaces private investment, slows growth, and leaves taxpayers footing the bill for temporary fixes. So here's the novel idea. Instead of throwing money at job creation, governments should pivot to improving the education system to deliver relevant, up-to-date training that actually matches what the job market needs. Imagine curricula that evolve with tech, AI, green energy, and digital skills, stuff that's booming right now. We're in 2025, and too many schools are still teaching outdated stuff that doesn't prepare kids for real world jobs. By partnering with industries, we could create vocational programs, apprenticeships integrated into high school, and online certifications that are affordable and flexible. This isn't just about degrees, it's about skills that make young people employable from day one. Studies show that countries like Germany, with their dual education systems, have way lower youth unemployment because training is hands on and market driven. But education alone isn't enough. We need to reform the tax and welfare systems to make work more appealing than sitting on benefits. Right now, high marginal tax rates and welfare cliffs discourage people from taking entry level jobs because they lose more in benefits than they gain in wages. What if we smooth that out? Lower taxes on low earners, expand earned income tax credits like in the US, or create negative income taxes that supplement wages without penalties. Make it so that every extra hour worked puts more money in your pocket, not less. This encourages young people to jump into the workforce, build experience, and climb the ladder. It's a fiscal tweak that boosts labour participation without massive new spending. Think about the financial upside. By focusing on education reform, we're investing in human capital, the ultimate driver of economic growth. Better skilled workers mean higher productivity, which leads to higher GDP and more tax revenue down the line. On the tax side, encouraging work reduces welfare dependency, cutting long term costs. No more crowding out because private companies aren't competing with government subsidized jobs. Instead, they're getting a pipeline of trained talent ready to innovate. Economists estimate that reducing youth unemployment by just 1% can add billions to the economy through increased consumption and investment. It's a virtuous cycle. More workers mean more demand, more businesses hiring, and less strain on public finances. Critics might say, but what about those who are really struggling, like the long term unemployed or those with health issues? Fair point. But even here, targeted reforms work better. Integrate mental health support into education and welfare, offer incentives for employers to hire at risk youth through tax breaks, not mandates, and for the sick, separate health related benefits from job seeking requirements so we're not punishing vulnerability. This approach is compassionate but efficient, avoiding the bloat of new bureaus that often become permanent fixtures sucking up funds. Let's look at real world examples to back this up. In Singapore, they've nailed education reform with their Skills Future program, giving every citizen credits for lifelong learning in high demand fields. Youth unemployment there is under 5%. On taxes, the US's earned income tax credit has lifted millions out of poverty by making work pay more. Compare that to direct job funds, which often fizzle out. The UK's own history shows these schemes are short lived and costly. Why repeat the mistake when we can innovate? Financially, this is a game changer for governments facing tight budgets. Instead of allocating £3.8 billion for health related job support or £1 billion for subsidies, redirect a fraction to education upgrades and tax tweaks. The return on investment is massive. Better education leads to higher lifetime earnings, meaning more tax revenue. Reformed welfare reduces entitlement spending. No crowding out means private sector growth accelerates, creating organic jobs. It's fiscal prudence meets social good, a novel finance idea that prioritizes incentives over interventions. Wrapping this up, if governments really want to abolish long term youth unemployment, like the UK Chancellor promised, they need to think bigger than guarantees and funds. Improve education for relevant skills, reform taxes and welfare to reward work, and watch the crowding out vanish as the private sector thrives. This isn't just policy, it's smart finance that builds a stronger economy for everyone. If you're a young person watching this, demand these changes. If you're a policymaker, let's make it happen. Hit that like button if you agree, subscribe for more finance deep dives, and drop in the comments. What's one education reform you'd love to see? Thanks for watching. See you the next time.